No. All right, review for the test to see if we can get through this. And if we don't get through it today, we have tomorrow also. We have Friday for you to do well. Any questions on this? The whole thing.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not writing them on my.
All right. You haven't seen this before, so I'm gonna write like this. The distance. That's how most people know the distance formula. They know it as a change in x squared plus a change in y squared. That's how some people know it. If you want to go through the x2, x1, that's fine, but this one's very popular. All people do is subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2 squared. 1 minus negative 3 is 4. There you go. Okay? That's it. That's all you're doing. There's no, that's the basic essence of the distance formula. Difference in x squared plus difference in y squared, and you take the square root. Okay? No, you don't have to go in order on the distance equation because you're going to square them anyway, so it'll come out positive. I have no idea what this is, but I think there is one typo on this test, if I remember correctly, on practice tests. I don't know. If you don't have your calculator, D? All right. You know how to do that, don't you? Okay. Given A is negative 1, 8, and find the point of B such that C is the midpoint at 3, negative 5. Okay. So B is what you're after. C is the midpoint. How would you find B? Well, negative 1 plus x divided by 2 has to equal 3. That's how you find the midpoint. You add them together and divide by 2. For the y-coordinate, it'd have to be 8 plus y divided by 2 has to equal negative 5. Yeah. If you have the point negative 1 and 8, and the point x and y, how do you find the midpoint of this segment? Those 2 points, how do you find the midpoint? You add them together and divide by 2. They're just telling you the answer is supposed to be 3, negative 5. Okay? So you add together and divide by 2. I know 6, x equals 7, and negative 10, y should equal negative 18. Is that even close? Hey, look, it is close. Not so bad. So to find the midpoint, you add them together and divide by 2. Find the point that is in the third quadrant, the distance 9 from the point 2, 1. Because the midpoint between 8 and y is you have to add them together. You're taking the average, so you add them together and divide by 2 to find the number in the middle. And it says it has to equal negative 5. So you turn it into an algebraic equation. Okay? That's like saying, what's the midpoint between 3, 5? The midpoint between these two are 1 plus 3 is 2, 1 plus 5 is 6, divided by 2 is 2, 3. Okay, that's the midpoint between those 2 points. They're just changing. They're saying, okay, now I want you to find the end point, not the midpoint. I think you have the algebra skills to solve each of those independently. You multiply by 2, and then you subtract the 8. You already had this long division bar, which means the parentheses are implied. Okay? Number 3, the distance formula. We already did that. 9 is equal to the difference in x squared, 2a minus 2 squared, plus the difference in y squared, 1 minus a squared. Guess what you're going to solve for? A. How do you solve for a? Well, you're probably going to square both sides. 81 equals 2a minus 2 squared. 1 minus... Yeah?
Why didn't you do 2a first and the x1 and did a? Because this is what I got, but I did a minus.
That's the same thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're going to square it. Positive or negative, it's going to come out the same. A minus 1. A minus 1. It'll come out the same. Now you just got to square it out and solve. 81 equals 4a squared, negative 4, negative 8a, plus 4, plus a squared, minus 2a, plus 1. 0 equals 5a squared, minus 10a, plus 5. You had the program in your calculator for that, don't you? Oh, no, I need to. So it'll be plus 70, that's 5, minus 76. Just a minus 1. That's the difference in the y. It's just carried over. It should be the 0.21. Okay. What did you get for a? Did you get anything for a? Are we even close?
Can we use?
Yeah. Yep. Negative 3.02. But yeah, that's a. Find the x-coordinate, you have to double it. So if you double it, you're going to get d, aren't you?
Wait, which one is?
A is the y-coordinate.
But how do you know which one's A on the y?
Well, because it says it has to be in the third quadrant. What do you know about a point in the third quadrant? They're both negative. So I'm assuming from your quadratic solution you have one positive, one negative. So it's going to be the negative. Okay. All right. If you move a graph, oh, we all know what the square root of x looks like, don't we? That starts here, shoots this way. Now, on your 5 for 10, a lot of people got it mixed up. If you subtract something outside the equation, which way does it move it? Up, down, left, or right? So it's going to go down 5. I don't know. Is it C? C? B, D. Yeah, it is C. It's moved down 5 from the origin. Number 5. The problem was sketch the graph of y equals the square root of x minus 5. So we took the square root of x and we dropped it down 5 units because it's outside the function. Okay? That's what C says. Ready? Moving on. What is this an equation of, a circle or a semicircle? That's a circle. Where's the center? Negative 3, 4. Negative 3, 4. And the radius is 3. So it's going to be tangent to which one, the x or the y? The y, because you're 3 away from here, so it's going to be tangent to the y. Probably won't cross the x. Probably be short of it. Probably something like this. Like that, actually. E? I don't know. Yeah, looks like it. All right, questions? Okay. Find the center and the radius. You remember how to do this one from the notes. Yeah, you're going to complete the square twice. Plus y squared minus 12y plus equals 36 plus. Yeah, complete the square. You cut it in half. 7 squared, you get 49. Complete the square, cut it in half. Negative 6 squared, you get 36. And those numbers have to be added to the other side. 49 and 36. And then you just factor it. X minus 7, or sorry, x plus 7 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals. Oh, that's a negative 36. Yeah. So it'd be 7 squared. Okay. 49. So the center will be at negative 7, 6 with a radius of 7. Is that D? All right. See how close the answers are? You got to know, and you got to keep track. Okay? You don't know how to do this one. Seriously. You don't. Really.
One of my 12 that I did. Wait.
I just put in y1, I put in y2. Do you want to work with positive numbers or negative numbers? So that means everything's going to go over here, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm going to have negative x squared plus 3x. See, I got a plus 4 and I got a minus 4. Like that. That's right, isn't it? So I have a negative x squared plus 3x greater than 0. What can you do with that? What is it? What can you do with that? Yeah, factor out an x. Negative x plus 3. Zero. What comes from the second factor? I think 3. Open circles. So 0 makes this factor equal to 0, and 3 makes that equal to 0. Now you pick the test points. If I put 1 in there, is that going to be a positive or negative product? Positive. If I put in negative 2 in there, is it going to be positive or negative? Is it? You think so? Negative 2 times 5. That'd be negative. If I put in 4, it'll also be negative. Which region do you want? 4? Well, 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So that's negative. How do you write this in interval notation? I chose positive numbers, didn't I?
So it's going to be 0 to 3.
0 to 3. Do you have a choice? Work with positive, work with negative. We chose positive. I think we always choose positive, don't we? Okay. All right.
I think you say that too.
What makes this equal to 0x? 0. What makes this factor equal to 0? Right. It's just written with a negative x. You're not used to that. You just written as x minus 3. It's the same thing. Okay. Moving on. Well, there's the graph. Interesting. I know it was there. 8. How do you find the slope-intercept form of the line? Woo woo. Stu Heck. Stu Heck. Oh, I'll see you in court. You've been sued. All right, ready? She's a funny teenager on TV. All right. You know how to find the equation of a line? Then you shouldn't get this question right. In fact, I picked this on your 5 for 10. Some people got it right. The x-intercept of 13 actually means the point is 13, 0. And the y-intercept is 0, negative 9. Oh, that's right. How do you find the slope? Y equals mx plus b. How do you find the slope? 0 minus negative 9 over 13 minus 0. It's y2, y1, x1. What is it? 13. That's what m equals. The y-intercept is obviously negative 9. Hey, you're probably right. 0 minus, no, I picked this as x2, y2. I picked this one as x1, y1. I went 0 minus the negative 9. And I went 13 minus 0. Okay? How did I what? Oh, because b is the y-intercept. Good. So it's y equals 9, 13 x minus 9. Is it? A. B. The general form of the perpendicular bisector for the segment AB. I'm going to use these two. I'm going to use, there we go, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 to get to this answer. All right? You'll remember it once you've seen it done. But the first thing I have to do is find the midpoint. What is the midpoint? We had this earlier in the test. Proud moment right here. Yeah. Yep. Add together and divide by 2. 0 plus negative 6. Divide by 2 is negative 3. And 9 plus negative 13 is negative 4. Divide by 2 is negative 2, right? That's the midpoint. Fantastic. Coincidentally enough, that's what I'm going to use right here. Y minus negative 2 equals m times x minus negative 3. You add them together and divide by 2. Add them together, divide by 2. Well, I got to find the slope. What's the slope of this line? Holding on. Nine minus negative 13, negative 6 minus 0. The slope is 22 over negative 6, 11 over negative 3. The last thing you have to worry about before you get your answer is, it says it's perpendicular. How do you change your slope if it's perpendicular? Opposite reciprocal. So my answer, I'm going to put in 3 11s. And I called on Larissa for this, and Marissa and Caitlin on purpose to remember this moment. I think it's positive. Opposite reciprocal. What do I do first to find my answer? Multiply by the 11. Why? Because there are no fractions in your answer. I know, I called on you guys for this. 11y plus 22 equals 3x plus 3. Now what do? Distribute and simplify. 11 plus 22, 3x plus 9. Which side's the x going to go on, left or right? It's going to go on the right side. So the 11y comes over and the 9 goes back. So I have 13 equals 3x minus 11y. If you don't practice this test, it'll be the worst score you've had so far in an exam. Straight up. Okay? I know, there's a typo, I said. You just kind of block this out a little bit, circle it.
Is it going to be like that on the exam?
Maybe.
I'll block that out. I'm gonna block that out.
I'm going to block that out.
If I did the same thing, you'll get it right. If I didn't, you'll get it wrong. That's how it works. Oh my gosh, this next question is so hard.
It's got words, it's gotta be hard.
It's got to be hard.
I actually did it.
How'd you do it, Logan?
Okay, I did, so I did 25, 44, 3, 12.5, and I added the 6.7, and I got 32.13
Keep up.
equals 1.5, and I divided by that, I got 21 equals 20.
Yeah, it says if you read all these words, this is the length. You put it in for L. This is the length. You put it in for L, and you solve for T. It's not that difficult. Most people get to this like, they freeze up. Remember I said read the question first. It helps. See? Thank you. 21 weeks.
I see it move it.
Quiet, please.
She's yelling.
They're infighting. That's never good when the negative Nancy Rose is infighting. All right. You're fighting within the row. Usually you fight external forces, but now you're fighting internally.
That's a lot.
No, it's kind of like the what were those three bug-eyed girls? The superheroes? Powder Puff Girls.
I love that show.
All right, moving on.
I had this little dolly thing with the powder puff ball. That is like the best thing.
All right, great. Now we've lost focus and concentration. Coming back. Courtney, how do you do this problem?
I didn't do this one.
And I didn't ask if you did it. I asked how to do it. Nope.
Do like a graphic.
How? Oh. All right, you move up. And the 4 is going to stretch it out. Oh, wait a minute. The 8's inside. So it's going to move this way, isn't it? Thanks. The other way we did this 2 days ago, I didn't. That was a mistake. We said you had to take the square root of a non-negative number. So we set 4x plus 8 greater than or equal to 0. Subtracted? Huh? The square root. Well, we kind of abandoned that approach. So we're doing this approach. 2. How do you write that in interval notation? -2 to infinity. D. You remember doing those? I think we did it Monday, didn't we?
Is D my favorite letter?
I don't write these. I just merely administer them. Okay?
Wait, so then we just put the -2 in for x?
Yeah.
Is that only for domain?
That's for domain with square roots. If you had domains of fractions, you'd have to worry about the denominator being 0.
Right, why is it, if you put it in for x, it equals 0.
Right. You can take the square root of 0. But this says you can put any number to the right of negative 2 and it'll work. If you put in negative 3, it's not going to work.
I put it negative.
Yeah, that's the first number that works. How do you find the range of this? X squared is negative. That's a parabola, right? Negative x squared, it opens down. Which way does the 2 move it? Nope, it's outside the function, so it moves it up 2. Range means what? Y's or x's? Y. So what y's are you using? Not negative. Positive 2 and everything down.
So wouldn't it be negative?
Negative infinity to 2. All right? No, I just made a quick sketch of the graph. I don't know how to find the y's other than looking at a graph. For the polynomial, that's easy. The domain's all real numbers. That's 12. 13. This is the fun one. Yeah. Well, in place of this, I'll put in x plus h squared plus 9 minus x squared plus 9 all over h.
Okay, why not?
You guys need to understand that this function is f of parentheses equals parentheses squared plus 9. Okay, that's what the rule actually is. It just so happens that in this example, they put x in here and here to write the equation. If I put r's in there, I'll have an r here, I'll have an r here. If I put in x plus h is there, I'd have an x plus h here also. Wherever you put in this parentheses has to go in this parentheses as well. That's all I did for this first one. I put in x plus h. Then I subtract what happens if I put in x's. Well, that's easy because you already did that one right there. So the only thing you really have to worry about is what happens when you put in x plus h. You get this result. When you put in x, you have this result. Now the question, once you subtract them after you multiply them and then divide by h. Now you use your algebra. X squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus 9 minus x squared minus 9 all over h. This problem should start looking familiar to some of you that have been doing your homework. You've done this probably 5 or 6, 7, 8 times now. What do you do next? Yeah, subtract, subtract. And then what about the h's? You factor one out. And you get your answer. 2x plus h. You guys have to distribute the negative through the bracket.
Why don't we just write the negative? Oh,
It's positive right here. So I have to subtract both the x squared and the 9. I'm subtracting the whole thing. Yes? Oh, because when I put in the x, I have the x squared plus 9. And when I put in the x plus h, I have another 9 I have to add.
where did you come up with what you wrote first?
Up here, this f of x is this expression right here, the x plus h squared plus 9. If I had f of r plus s, I would have r plus s squared plus 9. Okay.
Oh, okay, so
If I had f of 6, I'll have 6 squared plus 9. Whatever I put in parentheses goes in and place it. So this whole thing is this part. Okay? And then it has to be repeated again after you put in x. Okay? And then you just work it out. You'll see this problem 50 times before you leave in May. And it'll be on your final probably at least twice. Okay? This is a big deal problem. Big deal. They know how to do this. All right. Rectangular piece of cardboard having dimensions 3 and 7. Open box. 3 and 7.
You should have a drawing on it.
I don't need it. I'm good. I love the open box. Sometimes at Christmas, you just take a sheet and make your own open boxes. And then wrap them up and give them to people. Empty open. I don't know, probably. You think it'll help? I hope so. X, 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 X. So now you turn them up, and what's the volume? Well, that's easy. How far is the front from here to here? I don't know. Well, you're taking X off each side.
It was.
You start out with 3. 3 minus 2x. What's the length going to be?
7 minus
7 minus 2x. What's the height going to be? How tall is it? Bless you. Yeah, you fold the flaps up, they're x tall. X. How do you find the volume? Multiply them together. X. Woo-hoo. I love the open box. It's always done the same way. The numbers change, 7 and 3, but still. Ready?
So what is this? So that's
Express the volume.
That's all we have to do. We don't have to solve it.
Solve it. You can't solve it. You're getting ready to solve it later. Right now, you're getting ready. You're just writing it. As the course progresses, you'll be solving that.
So that's it.
That's your answer. I know I haven't turned the page yet. I want to, and people are saying, no, no, no. I did, see? You see the answer somewhere? C. All righty. This is a good one. 6, 7 is a point P. What is this? How is this going to change your point? Down 7. So it'll be 6, 0. To the left 2, 4, 0. That quick. Huh? Questions on that?
Wait.
It should be. A, F of BX minus C plus D. These are shifts. These are the stretches. One shifts X, one shifts Y. So when you subtract 7, that's going to take the Y out, and you move it back 2, that's going to move the X. So we went down 7, and we went to the right, left 2. These are Y's and X's. This shifts X and Y's. Okay? Below on this graph, what happens when you have the 6 multiplied and subtracting 3? Shifted to the right 3. Very good. That's C. Go up. I'm done. I'm past. I'm moving on.
Yeah, we're going too fast.
We're going too fast. I've only got 2 minutes left.
So we have to learn.
You have to look. No, this is review of what you've already learned. Right?
What was
Yeah.
the
Wait, I want to do 17.
C and D, they shift it. They either shift the X or shift the Y. 17?
Yeah.
Oh, I love these. This is a line. X plus 6. X plus 6. Now, remember, tomorrow I still have time that I can finish going through this, or we can do questions on the odds.
That's my side.
Yeah, these are the Y's. The cube. and the negative x plus 2. You're going to use each pieces of those graphs to make an equation. Yeah, it is. So at negative 1, close dot at negative 1, 5. Negative 1, 5, close dot. And look, I'm going to use this part of the line right there. Oh, we'll finish this tomorrow. Remember, this means negative 1 less than equal to x less than equal to 1. This piece of the graph. Open. Open. Then open, open, closed. 1, 1. Oh, then it's going to go down. Nice.